Oh.
Now, I bet they made this one take place in the past just so they wouldn't have to care about shit like ballistic markings.
I don't know. I think they also were just interested in telling this kind of story, like
Yeah, I know.
a story pertaining to the. There'll be more stuff relevant to the setting. I mean, hell, it's already kind of relevant. Like they won't shut up about the relations between Japan and the British Empire in this case, and that's gonna continue through both games. So
I ship them. Order, order, order.
what is the meaning of this, Inspector?
The meaning of what?
Talia.
Prosecutor Ouchie.
Why on earth did you not have the lady open her handbag and show you the contents at the time? Thanks to your bungling incompetence, now she has to endure these uncomfortable accusations.
Brilliant work, partner. Now we have a chance to expose the real woman behind the mask.
Do you think so, Kazuma? Like, opens her face to reveal an entirely different body?
Well, what a sorry situation. Clearly you have no faith in the police. As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after the shooting. Simply because it was unnecessary.
Necessary in what way?
I ought to thank the student lawyer, really. I have a piece of evidence here that I had completely forgotten about. This photographic print. This print is a photograph that I thought would be prudent to take immediately after the shooting. Oh, as you can see, it clearly shows Miss Brett's handbag.
Well, I never.
Okay, she left at the scene, so what?
You see right through
wait,
into
what?
what's inside.
Oh, you.
I'm more concerned about the
okay.
strange bullhead-shaped mark on Wilson's wrist.
Oh. That's right. Apparently, meshwork bags like these are the height of fashion in London at the moment.
So the contents are clearly visible.
Okay. Exactly. So there was no need to search the lady's handbag. If there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious.
Ah,
As you can see, there's nothing to imply Miss Brett's guilt here. Thank you for helping to prove that, Naruto-san.
ah!
Yeah, anime.
Order, order. Inspector Hosonaga, you will submit that print as evidence at once.
Certainly, Your Excellency.
I think you've had long enough to cross-examine the witness, counsel. The court has now been shown considerable evidence. The photographic print just submitted into the court record appears to have no further significance. I'm satisfied that there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling.
Indeed, and there is only one logical conclusion. That the pathetic rookie slumped over the bench before us is the only possible perpetrator of this crime.
No. When I thought I was beginning to turn things around, in a worse situation than I was at the start. Kazuma?
I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. Now the cross-examination witness is over. There's no way to force the trial to continue.
What? You mean this is it? You just threatened everyone at sword point.
I must say you put up quite a fight for a rookie student, but the weak are meat while the strong eat. You're wasting your time. There's no way to defeat true justice. A fact you can chew on to your heart's content from the inside of your cell.
This can't be happening. You're really going to be found guilty of a crime that I didn't commit? Kazuma. His dream of going to study in Great Britain will slip through his fingers. Kazuma.
What?
Is there really no chance now of turning this trial around?
You've been the judge. There's nothing about that last photograph detective produced that we can contest. Which means there's no basis on which we can argue for the trial to continue. Wait, can we look at it?
Very well, I will now proceed to the...
Rolling.
As far as I can tell, the only relevant things here are the weird mark on Wilson's wrist
Yeah.
and just the bag that we already talked about.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I can zoom in if I want. Doesn't really help.
Alright, it's a ball. Wait, what's the symbol in the clasp?
It's just like a rose thing.
Oh, damn. Okay, never mind.
Actually, one
We'll
second.
now proceed immediately to the ruling. That was it.
There's gotta be something.
It seems we will be able to report to the British government on time after all.
Smug little.
Yunosuke Naruhodo. You interrupted my line. Wait! Your Excellency! Having considered all the evidence, blah blah blah.
Ryunosuke?
I don't think you can rule on this case yet.
This amateurishness is getting tedious. When His Excellency deems that the trial is over, he gives his ruling. That is the most basic protocol of the courtroom.
I don't like that. What is it? Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. The photographic print just submitted appears to have no further significance. There's no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Now, that means that if there was a problem with the evidence, some significant detail, I mean, then ruling on the case at this time would be out of the question.
This is blatant straw clutching. Look at this photographing print. All it shows is the handbag the gentlewoman was carrying on the day in question. There can be no problem with this evidence.
You better know what you're doing, Ryunosuke.
You never do. I understand your objection, counsel. Certainly, the new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone the court's scrutiny. However, I fail to see how we can glean any new information from this handbag.
Ha! My thoughts exactly. Really, the prosecution is becoming tired of this rookie's desperate wheezes.
Yes, I am desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right. If only I could put my finger on it. You can, it's a photo. Very well, I will grant the defense one final opportunity. I have 5 hits left.
What?
But be warned that if I am unsatisfied by your response here, the trial will be over with immediate effect. Do I make myself clear? It's a threatening
I like
pose.
the animation.
Yes, Your Excellency. So, take another look at the photographic print Inspector Hosonaga submitted before. It will only take one.
Obviously.
We will identify it for the court, where in this print we see the significant detail to which you have alluded. It's a weird cow thing. Look at this here. A very unusual mark on the victim's wrist. That is true. Looks almost like a burn of some description.
Dear me, I was pondering what new piffle you would come out with. A burn, you say, on the victim's wrist? Clearly that has nothing whatsoever to do with the magnificent lady's handbag.
Piffle.
Yeah, says a burn mark. You're right.
Go on, Inspector.
The police coroner has noticed it when he was performing the post-mortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't know it on his report.
What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea when the victim suffered this burn, do we? And no possible way of knowing either. The more I look at it, the more I find... Oh.
It's me! The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape of this mark. However, as Prosecutor Auchi points out, unless a firm connection to the case can be shown, we cannot allow any further time to be spent on the precise details of this burn.
We're looking.
What, are you trying to unscrew it?
I don't know, just messing around.
My personal student number is engraved on the back here. Use your pen, they won't accept you as a UMA student of the university. You may not come in, they say. Of course, you can get a new pen made if you just tell them your number. I should have lost mine twice already, but I still don't know my student number by heart. I always say to myself, I mustn't forget to write it down somewhere, but then I forget not to forget that.
What the fuck is wrong with this guy?
Fucking love Ryunosuke.
Ah, the symbol of Yume University. Every student wears this pin with pride. It's funny, but most emblems seem to be either round or rectangular. I like the spike design, even though it doesn't really make any sense. Though it does cause problems. Lots of students end up cutting their fingers on their badges. Perhaps it was the idea of one of the founders, a sharp pen by sharp mind or something? Yeah, that's logical.
Graphic victim. This card.
Oh, there! On the plate!
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what? Oh! Oh!
There we go.
Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would seem Miss Brett has a lunch appointment with the dean and other university staff. She'd like to know if she may be excused from the stand for now.
Oh, of course, dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final ruling anyway.
What's your thinking on this, Ryunosuke? Do you believe this burn does have something to do with the case?
To be honest, I'm not really sure. But don't keep pushing, then it's all over. I was thinking I should keep digging and digging, in the hope that I might uncover something useful.
Yes, you're right.
I am?
If we could just link that burn to the case. If we can do that, we might be able to prise this shutting door back open again.
Just give up, Council. You can't possibly hope to do that.
Indeed. I'm afraid that without evidence, I can't allow you to pursue what is little more than conjecture.
But if we had evidence? Evidence that irrefutably linked the burn on the victim's wrist to the case. Then you would allow it?
Well, I would, yes.
To the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn. But as soon as you pointed out, what I did notice was the color draining from Miss Brett's face.
Really? She looked plenty pale already. I have to find some link between that burn and the case. This is the moment of truth. It's time to find some evidence that proves what that burn really means. So then the defense will now present its evidence to the court. Evidence that demonstrates an inexplicable connection between the victim's burn and this trial. What's this, Counsel? Yet another print? Yes, Your Excellency. I believe photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at a scene, we miss things. In a photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore.
Do hurry up, Rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady any further really would be quite inexcusable.
Just marveling at technology. Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer, if you don't mind, Miss Brett. If that is your real name. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have that unusually shaped burn on his wrist? Reason is recorded here forevermore.
Whoops. See, I thought you would read the line better then.
Oh.
Just how?
Oh. What? How?
You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean. What is it in this photograph that explains the reason for the victim's burn?
Yes! Wait.
The beefsteak?
Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on. A plate? Ah!
Your Excellency, are you alright?
As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. If it burned him, you could say it's the fire emblem.
Wow.
I guess it's some sort of trademark of La Carnival.
Wow.
This emblem on the plate. The victim's burn. Exactly the same shape.
Ah!
Inosuke, you genius! You're spot on!
Which means... doesn't mean... the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant.
Ooh.
He could have gone there some other day.
But even if that is the case, we can't know if it happened on the day in question or not. It could have been the day before, or the day before that. It most likely happened at some other unrelated time.
Well,
Objection!
Sadly, Prosecutor Ouchie, the chances of that are extremely slim.
thanks.
Why? Oops.
Oi.
I wasn't trying to skip it, it's just when it's a short line.
That's fine.
So to explain this, if you're not, like, for people who don't get it, the line will play out at a certain speed. You can press A to have it instantly fill the box, but if it's already filled, if it's a short message and you accidentally press A after that, then it will just skip the message to the next one, so...
Sometimes they are instant.
Oh, okay.
Go on then.
The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Some serious injury would have caused quite a commotion in the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hosonaga? I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly.
But...
I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago. And although it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined, as the fence just pointed out. This is no mild burn, that's for sure.
Can you be more specific, Inspector?
Well, let's see. If the plate was at around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds.
It's inconceivable that the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then. Something like, ouchie!
I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already, but I've not heard anyone scream at all. As the head waiter of La Carnival, I can testify to that without hesitation.
But you're a detective, not a waiter!
Well, shit's got a point. You have it. Something isn't right here. As the detective said, anyone who burned themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that.
Inspector Hosonaga never heard the professor scream, not that day or any before it.
Oh, because he was already dead, right?
Yeah.
That's right. And the strange thing is, the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either.
What are you suggesting?
Well, if the professor had carefully laid his wrist on the plate for anything like 3 seconds that day, that would be beyond careless, I think, Counsel. And the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, and the old antiques dealer, All of us would, without any question, have heard him scream.
Okay, which means that when he died, he fell such that his hand landed on the plate, which means he was facing the plate, which means he wasn't facing away from it, which means if he was shot in the chest, he was shot by the person across the table from him. Boom.
Ah, logic.
Okay.
Wouldn't you agree, Professor Algie?
Prosecutor Archie.
Well, yes, I suppose.
The question is, why did I call you Professor? Can a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream?
I almost don't believe it. Ryunosuke, do you think...
Oh, blackout. Can someone get on that? Can it really be true? The Dread would arrive at a conclusion like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe you've been led into a terrible trap. It's a trap. There's only one explanation I can think of to make sense of this apparent impossibility. On the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson... Wait, if he fell on the plate, that means it was by him, but he wasn't eating.
Well, I mean, well, no, because it's on the wrist. So, like, he fell...
I guess if it was a small
Forward.
table, he could have reached, yeah.
Yeah, if it's a small table. Or he's just like a big dude, I don't know.
No man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. Clearly impossible. Apart from in one particular situation.
Oh,
Are
wait.
you suggesting...
Well, hang on. He was also on he was also on laughing gas that prevented him from feeling pain.
Oh, yeah.
Shit. They're gonna bring that up.
Really?
Yes, it's only possible. The man was already dead.
Already.
Dead? Well, they may have forgotten about it.
Huh?
Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation. The beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day. Professor was already dead.
That's madness. No, this is Sparta.
Go back to what year that was. Order, please. Council, explain this absurd notion at once. Victim was killed by a gunshot.
That's right. That's absolutely right, Your Excellency. This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student. But clearly he has no grasp of the facts.
No, Prosecutor Aochi. It's you who has no grasp of the facts.
I beg your pardon.
As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered that burn while at the restaurant, this cold case was turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If it's true, as we now believe, that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it's highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it.
Incredible. Certainly didn't expect this twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett. You will have to forget about your lunch.
Yeah.
You will have to forget your luncheon engagement.
But it's an unforgettable luncheon. But Your Excellency.
The justice system in our country may be in its infancy. But rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I am prepared to pass judgment. Thank you, Your Excellency. What was that smile? Damned smile.
Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours.
I knew it.
Miss Brett, you speak Japanese?
Obviously.
Well, of course I do. I am studying in your country after all.
Then, why have you been speaking through an interpreter until now?
My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible.
Oh.
So much
Oh,
for relations
international,
between
got
their
it.
countries.
That's no surprises. Good.
But it seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. So I can see that I shall have to lower myself to communicating with you all on your own level. Oh, well, you are the epitome of a true English gentlewoman. We are truly honored by this lavish consideration you so graciously afford us.
We will only speak to
God.
chaps. I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson.
So we're finally going to hear her own words on the matter. Things are getting interesting, Ryunosuke.
This testimony.
Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burned his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway.
Was it poison? Because it's always poison.
Yeah.
Most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in the Supreme Court's history. Thank you. At most. Easy does it.
I hope that is the last time I will have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your unbecoming tongue. Oh, forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone. Not at all, not at all! It is a delight merely to hear you speak, dear lady, and it seems very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant. I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what has happened here today. The Minister of Justice? May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen.
Oh!
Well, actually, they say amen in Britain. I don't know why I did that. Amen.
Thanks? Was that a prayer then?
Well, you'll have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brett, and put up with a cross-examination now. I expect you notice that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much.
I'm sure I don't need to remind you, counsel, that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this witness's testimony, I will be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear? He's an idiot sandwich. Yes, Your Excellency. You may proceed with the cross-examination.
All right. Sorry, I just wanted to make it do this.
Yes, it's written in the paperwork. Fatal hemorrhage from ballistic trauma.
Yes. Luckily for all of us, a little burn on the wrist isn't going to kill us. And as there were no other signs of trauma on the victim's body to indicate some other cause of death, it can only have been the bullet from your gun that put an end to this innocent man's life.
It doesn't make any sense. Burn must have happened straight away when the plate was first brought to the table by the waiter.
Yes, that's true. If it cooled even slightly, it would have been able to make a burn like that.
The victim burned his wrist on the hot plate as soon as it was brought out from the kitchen. He must have already been dead at that point.
And yet, the fact is that the victim was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Until you're able to show the court evidence to disprove that, this is a complete waste of time!
I concur. Prosecutor Ouchie is right. Ah!
Yes!
Without leaving a trace.
If someone is shot, or strangled, or stabbed, or thrown from a height, however a person's life is taken, there are always telltale traces on the body. Quite right, dear lady. And as our police force has thoroughly examined the body of the deceased, there can be no doubt. Isn't that right, Inspector Hosonaga?
As I've said, I always aim for a flawless investigation.
Would be physical traces with all those causes of death, that's true. Maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't leave a mark.
If, heaven forbid, you doubt me, young man, you're going to have to tell everyone how exactly you think the professor did lose his life. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls rather flat, doesn't it?
You put poison in his mutton!
Fire Emblem, trust no one. Oh no, perish the thought, calling such a sweet young lady's innocence into question. On my honor, I, Takechuchi Ouchi, will cut down any who dare cast such aspersions.
A way of killing someone that leaves no trace.
We need some evidence to back us up here.
Yes, evidence.
Ah, that's why she put the gloss in her bag.
Ah.
Ah! Okay.
Inferior? What do you mean by that?
In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at a crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once and that's the end of it. Isn't that so? Quite right. La Carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident. Exactly. Which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost.
You,
I don't think so.
the bubble?
It doesn't even occur to your naive detectives to try to preserve the crime scene. I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can, you understand? A killer blow! The lady is as formidable as she is beautiful.
Amazing. He's actually admitting our police may be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Ouchie is finally starting to see sense.
I very much doubt that.
Still, there's something about what Miss Brett just said. There was a moment before when something didn't seem quite right.
What do you think, Ryunosuke?
I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press, I'm not turning up any new information.
Yes, as I suspected, she's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony, or the cross-examination will be over.
But that would mean I have to find a way. There must be some clue somewhere to help us find a chink in her armor. Hazuma,
What, Ryunosuke?
it's not racist of me to say chink when we're Asian, is it? There is one thing I noticed. Something that's been bothering me.
You can speak of chink if you say of armor, and speak of spick if you say unspan. Whatever.
Bothering you? You mean about Miss Brett?
Actually, no. About the person standing next to her, Inspector Hosonaga. He seemed to react a little...
Oh, the detective?
Yes, he seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant. It might present an opening, maybe.
Alright, I have an idea.
Of course it's a mechanic.
Try pressing her on that last statement one more time.
If you think so, but...
But this time, instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we can get out of the detective.
Alright then, I wonder what Cosmo's thinking. He just said it. I'll find out soon enough, I suppose, once I press Miss Brett on her last statement again.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes!
And cough cough. What is this?
How?
I'm guessing you need to progress and then he'll tell you.
Oh, okay.
Yes, there it is again.
Yeah.
Tifa's reaction is just the same as before. Why?
But then the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the English woman has to say. Be a golden opportunity.
What do you mean?
When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down.
You're right. Look at him. He's lost in his own thoughts. All alone.
It's time to pursue the man in his train of thought.
Sorry? Sue?
I'll explain how to do it now, Ryosuke. All I have to do... it's all to do with the witness marker.
Marker. Can you draw with?
At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, who's the person actually making the current statement. But by moving the marker left and right with the D-pad, you can turn your attention to other people in the stand. While you're looking at the witnesses, you'll be able to pursue them with A. If you can catch the person at just the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people in the stand, take a good look around.
Alright then, so first I should move the marker across with the D-pad and focus on the detective. Pursue him with A and see what's on his mind. Here we go.
Exactly. Which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost.
You can also use the stick, apparently.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Oh!
Fucking love that. What the?
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to shock you. He was lost in his thoughts. Deeply.
It looked like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say?
If there's something you'd like to say, please, share with the court.
Objection! What is the meaning of this? It's the delightful Englishwoman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over immediately.
Oh, is that how it works?
Absolutely not.
Hmm?
The detective is in the stand, which makes him a vital witness. A valid witness. And then,
Yes! Not to mention the fact that he's intimately involved with this case. Inspector Hosonaga,
yes.
do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett?
Well, yes, if you don't mind, I'd like to speak. And that he is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain. Which is why I, Satoru Hosonaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless.
What do you really mean by that?
I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done.
Crime scene thief?
Well, looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there. Take this, for example.
Is that?
It's the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table the day in question. And yes, it's lost all its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says.
Yes, there's some left in the bottle. I can see it.
One day our police force will be among the best in the world. The time is coming, I guarantee it.
He drinks some. Is that why he's dying? I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. Court will accept the glass and bottle of water as evidence. Miss Brett, can you confirm this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day of the victim's death?
Yes, it was that bottle.
What was that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question. Very well. Counsel, you may resume the cross-examination.
Alright, let's observe the bottle. Take a look, sees.
Look at the bottle and find what is wrong with it.
No.
Label?
Look at the label.
The label is written in a foreign language that I don't recognize. You know what it says, Kazuma?
I think it's French. This must be very expensive water.
Yes, but what does it say? That's what I was asking.
Then go to France and ask.
Could just say that you don't know. That it?
Yeah, oh.
So this carbonated water is the last drink Dr. Wilson ever had.
Looks like it's a little left of the bottle. It's just plain water now.
You know, I've been sweating so much I'm absolutely parched. I'll just have a sip of this to keep me going.
No, Ryunosuke. You can't do that. For one thing, that's evidence. You can't go drinking evidence.
Oh, no, you're right. We don't know what might be inside, do we?
Never cease to amaze me, Ryunosuke. In more ways than one.
Wonder. Could there be anything in this water?
What's the matter? You've gone quiet all of a sudden.
I think I might have just worked something out. An interesting possibility. And the inspector will kindly control his fervor.
Ahem.
I think the last one, no other... Yeah, this. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yes!
But is this the bottle of water? Actually, there's one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Obviously, I'm referring to poison.
Poison?
The day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be there was poison inside? Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass?
What me?
Order. On that day, who was sitting at the table the same table as the professor and able to slip the poison into his drink? There's only one person who could possibly have done it. Zale Brett, it was you!
Objection!
This is outrageous! To suggest such a thing without a scrap of evidence! You little rookie imbecile! Have you even considered the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? Have you forgotten that we have only just signed an accord of friendship with the British Empire? Have you even the vaguest inkling that your magic secret could jeopardize the entire treaty?
Ow, my ears. This is not a political arena. There's a trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect to one crime.
What?
The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth.
If I may, I will silence you forever for this disgraceful attack against her. Shut up! It is you who should be silent. Of course. Dear lady.
Where did that come from? She just snapped.
God.
I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies.
I'm sorry, my lady. To what are you referring?
I described your police force as inferior. But no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe. The bottle, I mean, Inspector, and whether it contained poison or not.
Of course. Of course.
You did?
Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already? I strive for a flawless investigation every time.
I don't believe it.
Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents.
And what did you find, Inspector?
I would test for every toxin that's available in this country at the present time. I can find no trace of poison of any description in the bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency.
Oh no, not British poison.
What? Are you sure? The tests were meticulously carried out by the chief coroner himself.
That's an unfortunate name for a chief. No!
I'm very grateful to all you Japanese. You successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Thank you. But of course, dear lady, the pleasure was all ours.
I was so sure.
This can't be right. Everything falls into place if he was poisoned.
Thank you, counsel. I think that cross-examination has clarified everything. As the prosecution have asserted, a shot to the chest from the gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who by his own admission was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit. I'm done for. The court wishes to apologize for the great inconvenience this has caused you, Miss Brett.
Oh no, I'm just glad the matter is resolved.
Before the proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present the court at this point?
I like his dragging himself off the desk animation.
Kazuma?
I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. I have nothing more.
Well, if you'll excuse me now, I really must be leaving.
I assume this is where Eugene and Susato will show up.
Gene and Susato. Oops.
There we go.
Oh.
Please wait.
Isn't that... What is the meaning of this?
Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikotoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense.
Mikotoba? In my darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hand, she carried a small package, wrapped in a furoshiki cloth.
Hmm.
Oh,
Kind of cloth was very important.
apparently.
To be continued.
I suppose I will cut the recording there.
Yeah. That's a good cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Figure out how to split this up in a bit. So yeah, thanks for watching again, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Ah.